Talk 980. The number to call is 888-539-2980. My name is Les Brown. That number, 888-539-2980. We're talking about disciplining kids. We're talking about spanking. To spank or not to spank? That is the question. The number to call is 888-539-2980. Want to thank you so much for calling. And how do you pronounce your name, please? Antonetta?
Antoinetta.
Antoinetta. How are you, Antoinetta? Thank you so much for listening to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking.
Yes, listen, how many children do you have?
We have 3.
Okay, how old are they?
Well, our first 2 are a little older. We have one who's 21, one who's going to be 17, and then we have our little blessing that when our middle daughter was in kindergarten, we wanted another one. And he's going to be 10 in May. Okay,
so you're still in business. You're still having children. Congratulations. How many more?
We're done. No, we're completely done.
You're done now. All right. Well, you know, I'm such a positive guy. After we finish this conversation, you probably will fail a rabbit test tomorrow. Well, listen, how did you discipline your kids?
Well, I did, you know, a lot of what you were saying. I did a lot of timeout. But I do believe in what you were saying with our daughter. You know, that's completely different. We never touched her. But with our oldest, you know, there was a few, you know, a spank on the tush, but there was the timeouts and the warning before.
Yes.
And if it got out of hand, then, you know, it was just one little smack, but nothing to, like what you were saying, no beating or anything like that. So.
Yes, right. Now, you know, my mother, she put the belt and the switch on us, but she never slapped me or any of my brothers and sisters. I think that is abusive to slap a kid in the face, something of that nature. That most certainly is wrong. Punching a kid, that's wrong. Without question, that's abuse.
Absolutely.
Yes. And there are some people who don't have the level of discipline. It's really a difficult issue, particularly if the child looks like the person looks like one of the spouses and you don't have a good relationship. It's really, really challenging then. I hate to say that. Am I right?
Both parents have to be on the same page, and that's why I tell my kids all the time, you need to choose your partner wisely.
Yes.
Because if not, then life is very difficult. But if you have a great spouse, like I do, life is good. It really is. I mean, you're a team and you work together every day. And life is wonderful.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's going to have its ups and downs, but if you have the right person, then I think the whole family unit can work really well.
Yes, without any question. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story, and thank you for listening to the program.
Thank you, too, Les. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye now. You know, I just think about a friend of mine. His mother and father divorced, and they had 3 kids, and she had 3 boys that she had to raise because the father did not participate. But my friend, who looks like the spitting image of his father, he caught holy hell from his mother and I believe that she did that to him. I believe she was more detrimental to his upbringing, and most certainly did not provide a nourishing environment because he looked like, he talked like his father. And every time that she thought about his father, I believe that she took it out on him. And sometimes parents do that. They'll take it out on the kids, particularly after divorce. And don't let the step-parents get into it. It becomes a whole different thing. We're talking about to discipline or not to discipline. How do you line up on that? How do you feel about that? We would like to get your story on that. Kathy in Anaheim, thank you so much. Where do you do that? I mean, do you have kids?
Oh, they're all grown now.
Yes, but when they were kids, how did you discipline your kids?
Well, each was quite different. My daughter, all you needed to do was give her a stern look. My son, much more strong-willed. I found the most effective discipline for him was boredom. He would behave in order not to be bored, and so I put a red dot on a door, and when he acted up, I said, you have to go over there, put your nose on the red dot, and I would tell him how long he had to stay there. And if he moved away, time started over. And he found that so boring that all I had to do was mention the red dot, and he would start to behave.
Wow. How old was he when you were doing this with him, that it became a deterrent to negative behavior on his part?
I'd say it started at least 5 years old.
5 years old.
It worked earlier than that.
And it worked. Now, what if he just became belligerent and wouldn't just stand there and kept his nose on the red dot like me? I would have just rather take the consequences of whatever you're going to bring. The red dot would have done it for me. That would have driven me crazy. I'd have been in a mental institution by now. What would you have done then?
Sometimes I stood behind him if he was being particularly ornery, and at that point, if he still would not behave, then privileges were taken away.
Okay, all right. So, but you would never resort to a belt or a switch or anything of that nature, nothing physical?
Nothing that bad, but there were times when a light but attention-getting quick swat on the behind.
Yes.
Not done in anger, but more as an attention getter.
Yes, that's where the subconscious mind is located, right there in the behind. Absolutely. Yes, yes. Sigmund Freud can tell you that. Yes, okay. Very good. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right, take care now. It's interesting, and you know, she said, one child, you can just look at that child, that one will stop. That was my brother. Me, you had to take some action on me. The stare didn't get it for me. The Mamie Brown look did not get it for me. She had to beat me down. Hello, Mark. How are you? Hey, Mark, are you there?
How you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm so glad that you called in. Now, how do you feel about discipline? I'd like to know your story. How many children do you have?
Well, I have 3. I'm in the early stages of parenting, but I've been in the education department for about 10 years. So I've learned from not even being a parent, but being in the education department as a teacher. And I think that there's a different approach because I get both sides to it. You know what I mean? Like I'm a parent and an educator. So
I'd like to know, what have you observed? Have you seen a difference between kids who parents spanked them and kids whose parents did not, and found a much more liberal way of dealing with it, like timeouts or look at the red dot and hold your nose there until I tell you to go?
Well, there's a very sensitive issue there because we're not allowed to ask the kids if the parents spank them, because if we do, since we're educators, we have to go through the paperwork and all that. But there is a thing going on where you can tell a child that's getting probably a lot more of the authoritative figure at home, where a little spanking may be occurring, because a child tends to be more like of a good listener and a more submissive nature. Whereas kids that you know that there's probably like not a father figure or a mother figure at home, where they're a little bit more like distracted, more less manageable. So I noticed that with the kids that we work with, some of the kids are prone to timeouts, and they're very good with timeouts. Some of them won't listen, period. But as an educator, you get that sense of, this kid is getting the father and the mother figure at home, and probably spanking, but we're not allowed to ask, of course, because the legal issue to it. But as a father, I think that there's different approaches to different kids. My son is a very good listener, and I just have to look at him and say, hey, that's not the right thing to do. And he turns around, yes, Dad, that's fine, well, stop. My daughter, she's a little bit more on the edgy side and likes, she waits for me to practically raise my voice a little, like, higher.
Yes.
So she kind of calms down. But I think every child is different. And
yes, they have their own unique personalities.
I do notice is they're very lackadaisical in the parenting scene.
Yes.
Wait till the kid does so many things before they interact or before they go in and put the father figure.
Oh my goodness, I've got to get out of this. I really appreciate your comments, but we got to break for commercials. But I want to thank you so much for your contribution to this, and thank you for calling in and listening. I'd like to hear from you. To spank or not to spank? That's the question I want you to call. What is your approach to discipline? The number to call is 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. Call me now. That's 888-539-2980. My name is Les Brown. You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980.